Central Intelligence Agency report concerning unidentified flying objects, document listed as R0-0-5-6-0R0-0-0. The National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena, the 1964 NICAP report released under the Freedom of Information Act. This report represents one of the most authoritative investigations of unidentified flying objects ever carried out in the United States, with hundreds of its pages devoted to a complex, detailed and forensic examination by top academics, military officials, scientists and professionals from all walks of life. The report covers every known aspect of UFOs. Indeed, the 1964 NICAP report is so comprehensive in its analysis of UFOs it's no surprise to find it locked in the secret vaults of U.S. intelligence services for over 30 years. Section 8 covers a sample of the accumulated photographic evidence of unidentified flying objects. Section 8 Special Evidence continued. The photographic material listed below has been evaluated with this principle in mind. A still photograph purporting to show a UFO is at most approximately as reliable as the person who took it, if the witness is a reputable person and all pertinent data is provided. His photograph deserves careful analysis. Where character information about the witness is lacking, the photograph is of less value and it is necessary to defer a judgment about it. Still photographs can be faked very easily. In general, movie films are more valuable because they are more difficult to fake and more subject to analysis independently of the character of the witness. NICAP advisor Ralph Franco, a professional photographer in New York City, gave the following estimate of photographic evidence for UFOs. Everyone knows that photographs can be faked, but the real question is, to what extent can they be faked? We have seen Hollywood movies of realistic dinosaurs fighting one another. We have seen dams break and towns washed away by the flood waters. We have seen naval battles and ships blown up right before our eyes. In one movie I even saw Moses hold back the waters of the Red Sea. These were all very realistic scenes, and we had to keep reminding ourselves that what we were seeing was a Hollywood movie and not a real event. If these complicated scenes can be photographed so realistically, why can't a simple thing like a UFO be faked? The answer, of course, is that it can, and what's more, it has time and time again. A UFO can be any shape, not just saucer or cigar shaped. This makes it very easy to fake by anyone. And furthermore, any unintentional mark on a film can be, and sometimes is claimed to be a UFO. If model airplanes can be photographed to look real, then so can model UFOs. This does not mean that there are no airplanes just because we are easily able to fake a picture to represent one. In the same way, the ability to fake a UFO photograph in no way implies that these things do not exist. Section 8 Special Evidence continued. This is just to point out the extreme difficulty of determining whether or not a photograph is authentic on just the unsupported word of one or two witnesses who may or may not be reliable. In truth, no photograph, no matter how clear it may be, can be considered evidence of a UFO reality without a reliable witness. Now, this brings us to the question of what makes a reliable witness. One need not be a famous person whose name we all know in order to be termed reliable. A man's credentials give him reliability, not his vocation. Is he a mature individual or one given to playing tricks? What is the opinion of him held by those who know him best? Questions of this nature will help to determine how responsible and trustworthy an individual we are dealing with. It is only when a photograph is vouched for by such a veracious individual that it becomes important as evidence. In addition to the question of witness reliability, analysis of photographic evidence for UFOs is complicated by other factors. Many of the potentially most significant pictures were taken before NICAP was formed in 1956. Belated attempts to obtain all the necessary data for full analysis have proved extremely difficult. Since then, quite a few of the seemingly better movie films and photographs were submitted to the Air Force, rather than to NICAP. by citizens unaware of NICAP's existence. Secrecy and red tape thereupon obscured the facts, in some cases, because of the confusion surrounding the UFO subject and reports of tampering with or confiscation of films. See Section 9. Witnesses have refused to give up their films for analysis. Because of these problems, we consider it appropriate merely to list photographic evidence known to exist. This will supply references to data which would need to be analyzed thoroughly in any complete scientific investigation of UFOs. We have also attempted to rate each case according to its probable significance as evidence. The codes below indicate rating, film data, and status of analysis by NICAP. Other description and comments follow with cases numbered to match the entries on the next page. Special evidence photographic cases continued. Case number 2. Frank Driven, U.S. Coast Guard, Seattle, Washington. At 5:45 p.m. Mr. Driven photographed a circular white object moving across the wind. See Popular Science, August 1951, and Report on UFO, Rupert. Page 37. Photograph also reproduced in Coming of the Saucers by Arnold and Palmer shows small, white, elliptical image. Photo carries identification, Acme Telephoto, SE86-75 Seattle. Case number 3. Commander R.A. Rego, Chilean Navy, reported sighting and photographing UFOs over an Antarctic base. Objects described as one above the other, turning at tremendous speeds. Major Donald E. Key, who queried the Chilean embassy and was told the films were classified. See Flying Saucers from Outer Space, page 44. Other sources indicate movie film was taken. Section 8. Special evidence continued. Case number 4, Norwood, Ohio. Searchlight case, Reverend Gregory Miller, Norwood, Ohio, in the presence of other witnesses, and with the help of a Norwood police officer, obtained 16mm black and white movies of a large disc hovering in a searchlight beam. The disc emitted 2 distinct groups of triangular-shaped objects. See also CRIFO Newsletter, Volume 1, Number 5. August 6, 1954, one of a series of well-witnessed sightings logged by Army searchlight operator Sergeant Donald R. Berger, where 325-foot rolls of movie film were exposed, using a Hugo Meyer f19-3 camera with telephoto lens. Also several still photographs with a speed graphic and 14-inch Wallen-Sachs telephoto lens, the best of which was submitted to Time Life magazine and reportedly never returned. One photograph was reproduced in Inside Saucer Post 30 Blue by L.H. Stringfield, Cincinnati, 1957. Case number 5, Spanish Balearic Islands. A United Press News Pictures photo reportedly taken by Enrique H. Muller is reproduced in The Coming of the Saucers by Arnold and Palmer, Amherst, Wise, circa 1952. It shows a large circular, fiery-looking UFO with razor flames spinning off its edge in pinwheel fashion. No reference points visible. No camera data available. Case number 6, White Sands, New Mexico Missile Tracking Station, April the 27th, 1950. An photographed UFO which had been observed visually, reportedly shows smudgy dark object in motion. See also Report on UFOs by Captain E.J. Rupert, Doubleday, 1956, page 123, filmed by Ascania Cine Theodolite. Case number 7, Paul Trent, McMinnville, Oregon, obtained 2 of the clearest UFO photographs on record. Both show disc with superstructure, reproduced by Life magazine, June the 26th, 1950, with comment that Mr. Trent is an honest individual, and the negatives show no signs of having been tampered with. Images closely similar to UFO photographed over France in March 1954, see below. Case number 11, Lubbock, Texas. Lights, photographs by Carl Hart Jr. showing the formation of large perfectly circular objects. See also Report on UFOs, page 144, Captain Rupert, head of Air Force Project Blue Book. reported that in each photograph the individual lights in the formation shifted position according to a definite pattern. Main photograph reproduced in True magazine, May 1954, taken with encoded 35 camera set at f3.5, shutter set at 1/10 of a second. Section 8 Special Evidence continued. Case number 13, Utah movie. Warrant Officer D.C. Newhouse, U.S. Navy, obtained 16mm color movies of a group of UFOs which he and his wife observed visually near Tommenton, Utah. At relatively close range, the UFOs appeared flat and circular, shaped like two saucers, one inverted on top of the other. Mr. Newhouse unpacked his Dell & Howard Automaster camera, with 3-inch telephoto lens, from the trunk of his car and obtained about 1,200 frames of the UFOs on daylight Kodachrome film. During the filming, Mr. Newhouse changed the iris stop of the camera from f8 to f16. The film was submitted to Navy authorities, who forwarded it to the Air Force at a TIC in Dayton, Ohio, where it was studied for several months. According to Mr. Newhouse, frames of the movie showing a single UFO moving away over the horizon, hence providing some ranging information, were missing when the film was returned. The hypothesis that the objects were out-of-focus seagulls was considered by the Air Force, but could neither be confirmed nor denied. The report of photogrammetric analysis by Dr. Robert M. L. Baker, Jr., Douglas Aircraft Corporation, which included a study of the 1950 Montana film, see above, also examined this possibility. He states, the motion of the objects is not exactly what one would expect from a flock of soaring birds, not the slightest indication of a decrease in brightness due to periodic turning with the wind or flapping. Dr. Baker reports that no definite conclusion could be reached, but the evidence remains rather contradictory and no single hypothesis of a natural phenomenon yet suggested seems to completely account for the UFO involved. See Section 9 referenced later Air Force statements on Utah film. Case number 14, Shellout Bird, U.S. Coast Guard, Salem, Massachusetts, and visually observed and photographed for UFOs information, was taken through the window of laboratory. The picture shows 4 roughly elliptical blobs of light. The photograph was reproduced widely in newspapers and magazines. The date coincides with the peak of summer 1952 UFO sighting flap, in which 4 objects flying in formation were observed several times, from an official Coast Guard letter, dated the 8th of August 1962. Copies held in NICAP files. It never has been determined what caused the phenomenal light shown in the photograph. Case number 15, Peru. Round UFO observed by Senior Pedro Bardi, agricultural engineer, and others on a farm about 4:30 p.m. in Madre de Dios, Peru. This was noticed when a shortwave radio went dead. Object also seen 4 minutes later near Puerto Moldo, where Senior Domingo Troncasco, and Customs Administrator, photographed. Photo shows elongated object trailing smoke, passing over the top of a tree and in front of a cumulus cloud. The photograph was submitted by James W. Mosley. The story and picture, see UFO Investigator, Volume 1 Number 2, August-September 1957, Section 8 Special Evidence continued. Case number 16, Ralph Maher, Miami, Florida. Using an 16mm film exposed at 24 frames per second, Mr. Maher obtained good footage of a high-speed UFO. Calculations by a physicist at the University of Miami yielded the information that the object was about 27 feet in diameter and traveling about 7,550 miles per hour, retaining a few frames for personal study. Mr. Maher submitted the main portion of the film to the Air Force for analysis. The film was never returned and no analysis report was ever released. For story and pictures, CPLC magazine, June 1954, enlargements of a few frames show a fiery-looking roughly circular object, symmetrical, with 2 small peaks or projection on opposite sides of the disk. Case number 18, Operation Main Grace. During fleet maneuvers in the North Sea in September 1952, UFOs were sighted in the vicinity on several occasions. See Section 12, on September the 19th. American reporter Wallace Litwin, on board the aircraft carrier Franklin Roosevelt, took 3 color photographs of a large silvery spherical object which reportedly moved rapidly across the sky above the fleet. The pictures showed a round object, this according to press reports, but these have not been released to our knowledge. See also The Truth About Flying Saucers, Michael, page 130, case number 21. The Ellsworth Air Force Base case, in which 2 jet interceptors chased a UFO which turned and followed the first jet back towards its base, was termed by Captain E.J. Rupert an unknown. The best, later information obtained by a NICAP member indicates that the UFO was photographed by an Air Force gun camera and that the film verified the presence of a UFO, making it an even stronger case. Major Lawrence J. Tackett, then Air Force spokesman on UFOs, wrote the NICAP member Alexander Overall on the 17th of September 1958. Photos of the radar scope and gun camera photos were made but were not sufficiently clear for evaluation. The Ellsworth Air Force Base case is still listed as unknown or unsolved. As in other gun camera and tracking camera cases, the film has not been released for outside scientific analysis. Approved for release Central Intelligence Agency 4th of February 2001.